We've got this. We can do this.
I know.
Hopefully before we run out of battery.
Oh gosh, don't say that.
I really wanted and expected to like this place more than I did, Amelia.
Yeah, there were a few things I liked, but I am not sure that this place is for us.
Yeah, honestly, we're kind of surprised that it's one of the most popular places in Southeast Asia because we just kind of think it's overhyped.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But before we dive in, if you're thinking about moving abroad or about slow traveling, then make sure to hit that subscribe button, please, because we show you how to do that on our channel.
We're talking about Phuket, Thailand. It's an island on the west coast of Thailand, just south of Myanmar. It's got a nice airport in the northern part of the island. It's small, but it's really easy to navigate.
Yeah, it was very efficient. I was extremely impressed.
So Thailand is on the Thai baht, in case you didn't know. And that right now there's 34 Thai bahts to $1 US. And we figured out an easy way to do the math on that. You just multiply it by 3 and drop 2 zeros.
I actually like to drop the 2 zeros first, and then I do the multiplication. I don't know if that's easier or not, but that's the way it works in my head.
3. Actually, I think a million is easier.
I think mine is easier. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, what do you think? Before we talk about the things that we liked and really did not like about Phuket, we want to share some of the most popular places where expats like to live and tourists like to go.
The first place on our list and where we chose to stay was Bang Tao. We liked it. We stayed on Boat Avenue, which was kind of right in the heart of all the action. One of the reasons we chose this location is because it was only 30 minutes from the airport and we like convenience. And it's also a popular place with tourists.
Patong is another popular area. It's about an hour south of the airport and it's a popular place for expats, but it's a bit more lively. If you want something a little bit more peaceful and quiet, just south of there is Kata and Karon.
Ruai and Nayarn are on the southern tip of the island, and they are known for their beautiful beaches, and it's a great place for nature lovers.
Old Phuket town is over on the eastern side of the island. We actually went there and spent a day. We went to an expat convention over there, and we also went to Instagram Avenue while we were there. All the Instagrammers and TikTokers were there filming. Well, there are a lot of really cool temples in the old town and some colonial era buildings.
Yeah, my only complaint about that was that it was quite hot because there's not very much breeze going on. And our final spot is Katu, which is actually located in the center of the island. So it's great for those of you who do not want to be so close to the beach because it is more urban and closer to the malls.
Yeah, those 2 malls that we went to on our way back from Old Town were really nice. They were massive. One side is kind of the more middle class mall, I would say. The other side, there's a walking bridge over the road, and that has all the Louis Vuitton and Tiffany and all of those famous expensive places.
Yes, I really liked all the Christmas decorations, which I was not expecting to see since this is a Buddhist country primarily, but Christmas is a popular holiday all around the world.
All right, Amelia, now let's talk about the things that we liked a lot before we talk about the things that will probably keep us from going back.
Well, I really liked the locals. Everybody was very nice and very friendly and very just calm, and everybody was smiling. It's nice to be around so many happy people.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed in Thailand is that people have resting smile faces. We are not used to that coming from other parts of the world where people kind of have resting frown faces. But here it seems like people are really happy.
And I felt very safe. I think that that is a general consensus, at least in the area where we stayed. It felt extremely safe and very family friendly.
Yeah, we walked around at night all the time. Kids were out playing and we never once felt unsafe, except for walking. But we're going to talk about that later. There are a few times where while walking down the street, I did not feel safe from the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, but not from criminals.
Yeah. One of the things that we loved and what everyone loves about Phuket are the beaches.
Oh my gosh. The beach was phenomenal.
It was incredible. And we were on Bang Tao Beach. That's where we went. They've got a bunch of beautiful beaches. The thing that we liked the most is it just wasn't crowded. We were there during shoulder season, so there weren't a ton of people like there are during high season, but it's also clean. There was no trash. There was no trash on the beach or in the water. Everywhere else in the world where I go swimming, I come back, I grab the first plastic bag that I see in the ocean, and I use it to put all the trash that I find in the ocean in the bag, and then I go and throw it away. I didn't see any trash the whole time we were there.
I know. I was so amazed. It really reminded me a lot of when I used to go to Mexico back in the early 90s before it got totally overdeveloped. And I like that too, because where we were, there weren't a bunch of high-rise resort style developments. So you had beach access all over the place, but also there was no seaweed too. And we encountered that the last time we were in Mexico, as the seaweed was crazy.
Yeah, we couldn't even swim. You couldn't even, you'd have to wade out through like 20 feet of seaweed just to get to the ocean. The other thing that we liked was no blasting music. In Ecuador, it's really common for the Ecuadorians to set up shop. They bring their small refrigerator-sized speakers and plant them next to each other, different people playing different music, all blasting at the same time. It's a horrible cacophony. It's not very peaceful or quiet. We didn't experience that once on this beach.
It was so relaxing. The water was the perfect temperature. I don't like cold water, and so for me to want to stay out in the water for hours is pretty unheard of, and I did. I absolutely loved it. If you want a relaxing beach vacation or beach living situation, at least for the time we were there, this is the time to go. I mean, it was wonderful.
Yeah, Amelia said it was like being in a sensory deprivation tank because it was calm. It's not a great place to surf. That Bang Tao beach isn't. It's pretty calm. The water was perfect. I was out there for hours, unfortunately, but we'll talk about why, unfortunately, in a little bit later.
Yeah, no place is perfect.
No. So chickens and roosters, Amelia loves those, and there were plenty on the beach. That's something that was actually like Ecuador.
I wasn't expecting to walk up to the beach and hear a rooster, and then I saw like 3 roosters and the hens with the little baby chickens, but we would see them bumming around on the beach, and I thought it was hilarious when I saw them lounging on the massage tables, like they were waiting for their turn.
Yeah, they were either under the massage tables or on them most of the time.
Yeah. I was surprised by the affordability. I was honestly expecting the beach to be more expensive, the beach services, but it was not bad at all. We kind of set up camp by the Big Bump Bar, which is a local place that serves Thai food, and I think they have some European dishes. We rented chairs for 100 baht per person for a day, which is $3, and that was the standard going rate along the entire beach.
Yeah, we asked a couple people on our way just to make sure we were getting the right deal. The cocktails were $6, so 200 Thai baht for like a Mai Tai or a daiquiri, which really on the beach, I didn't think that was that bad.
No, me neither.
A big giant bottle of water was $1.50, and it was $6 for an entree, and they were good size entrees, and they tasted great. We actually really liked the staff there. They took great care of us. They were really attentive and so friendly.
They were really friendly, and they served us right on the beach, but they also have a really big restaurant if you didn't want to do that. And we actually ended up sitting in the restaurant a couple of times when it started pouring rain later in the day.
Yeah, it is a bit of the rainy season. I guess that's a good segue to the next one, Amelia. The weather, we actually really liked the weather while we were there. It was in the low 80s, not a lot of humidity. Surprisingly, after coming from KL, our humidity index is way up there. And with the nice ocean breezes, it really didn't feel that bad to us.
Now, there were a couple of days where we were walking around where we got pretty sweaty, but I mean, come on, you're in the tropics, you're going to get that. It was worse when we were in the old town of Phuket, just because, as I mentioned earlier in the video, that we were inland, so there weren't a lot of those tropical breezes, but being out on the beach was perfect.
The tuk-tuks were fun.
They were fun.
Like decked out there with lights and music and everything. They're open air, so it's nice and cool. We haven't ridden in a tuk-tuk in years.
No, not since India.
Yeah, a long time ago.
These actually felt safer than India.
Yeah, they did, and they weren't nearly as loud.
No, they weren't.
And they were $6. It was 200 Thai baht to go from the beach to the boat avenue where we were staying. It took them about 10, 15 minutes because of traffic and stuff. But,
yeah. Which was still better than taking the taxi, the grabs, I mean. I don't know, I thought that was a little pricey, but not compared to some other stuff.
Yeah. Shopping is great, especially where we were in Porto. Well, there's a new development called Porto Phuket, which is really nice. It's got shopping and restaurants. And Amelia says it feels like the center of a resort.
It did. It did have that whole resort feel because they had a really nice grocery store, a variety of shops, and a wide variety of restaurants. They had like a little play area for for kids, and I think they do entertainment on the weekend. So it did have that resort style feel to it, which is interesting because I feel like the whole area is kind of built up to be more of a resort town now.
Do you guys like Amelia's new dress? We got this in Phuket.
Yes.
Actually, this was at a little shop off Boat Avenue.
Yes, and I really like it. It's extremely comfortable, and it was perfect for the weather there since I didn't have a lot of islandy type clothing.
Yeah, we already talked about the mall, so we're not going to talk about that again. But they do have those really nice new malls over there.
But those are about an hour away.
Yeah, well, actually, those were about 40 minutes away.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It was an hour all the way over to Old Phuket.
You're right.
So, all right, restaurants are next. We do like to eat out, even though we cook most of our meals. A lot of times we work all day, and our treat and our reward is to go out and have dinner.
Yeah, well, also because we want to get out.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of different restaurant choices, so you're going to find whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. And the service was incredible. Everywhere we went, the service was just impeccable. I think the best service that we've experienced yet in the world. So we, of course, found the Indian restaurant called Barwachi Indian Restaurant. It was delicious.
It was.
And surprisingly not busy. We think the location wasn't great for that, but we loved our food there.
It was excellent. And we ate at Hummus Heads. If you like hummus, it's Lebanese food. It was really good.
And Mrs. B was like kind of like a bar and grill with some nice options there. And we enjoyed hanging out there on our very first night. Our Airbnb host recommended that.
Yeah, I like the atmosphere there a lot.
Little Siam and Little Paris are kind of connected to each other. They're owned by the same business, and those were really nice, super popular, always very busy, and great service there too.
Yes, and everyone, once again, super friendly.
Mm-hmm. The Husay Bowl, which was just like an acai bowl kind of place. We ate there once. That was really good. So the average price was like $10 to $20 per person for dinner. That does not include wine or any sort of alcohol. It did include water because you can't drink the water there, so they always brought bottled water that we had to pay for. And the glasses of wine ranged from like $6 to $8.
So it was typical for what we're used to paying.
Yeah, but not what I expected to pay, given everyone talks about how affordable
Agreed.
Thailand is. So we'll talk about that. One of the things that really shocked us. But grocery stores, we did cook most of our meals. The Via Market right on Boat Avenue was nice. The Tops is a new grocery store over in that Porto, Phuket.
I was impressed with the wide variety of food we were able to find there. Mm-hmm. It was really well stocked for basically people from all over the world. And we went to the little fruit stands too, so you can get the local produce, which was really good.
Yeah. So we spent on average about $10 per day per person to eat. And we did eat out quite a bit while we were there. So I think that was pretty expensive. And we went and bought some sweet potatoes. We bought 4 organic sweet potatoes, not realizing they were $15.
Yeah.
$15 for 4 sweet potatoes. We did not buy those again.
No, make sure you pay attention. The produce was delicious, but we did not need to go there. We got some tomatoes that were very, very affordable, and they were also delicious.
Yeah, the fruit stands are a lot cheaper than the grocery stores, but we had just gotten there, and I wasn't ready to do the math yet, and I didn't realize that 500 Thai baht was $15. And so they got me.
Lesson learned.
They got me. All right, so another nice thing about Thailand is that you don't need power adapters, so they're plugs that are, the outlets in the wall will work with both the US or American plugs as well as European plugs. We had fast internet, we had 500 meg download and 250 meg upload at our Airbnb, and we only lost electricity once, which is actually kind of surprising. We'd heard that there was some infrastructure issues. We're going to talk about why we probably won't go back to Phuket next, but we first wanted to let you know that our Move Abroad Express e-course is still on sale I think I'm going to leave it on sale through the holidays so that you guys can get that before next year. We know a lot of you are looking at moving abroad.
Yeah, it's designed to walk you through every step in the process of leaving your old life behind and starting your new life abroad.
Yeah, and you're going to get lifetime access to all the course updates and our private expat community where a lot of people are at different phases of their journey of moving abroad. A lot of people already live abroad and they're eager and happy to talk to you about their experiences.
Scan this QR code here or check the link below and lock in your discount now.
All right, and now for the dark side of Phuket, Amelia.
Okay.
The first one we've kind of already talked about is expensive. We were really surprised by how expensive it was. I would say it was on par with like some of the places that we've been in Latin America, definitely. It's not as expensive as the US,
No.
like going to Miami or San Diego. It's not like that, but it is expensive compared to some of the other places that we've been.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. And lodging is definitely more expensive. And we were there right before high season started. So I expect those prices to go up.
Yeah, I talked to an Italian guy in the pool one day, and he travels full time, and he was in the exact same unit in that building 2 years ago, and it was half the cost as it was this year. He was shocked. He said, I couldn't believe it. 2 years ago, he paid $750 for a month, and this year it was $1,500 for the month to stay in the same unit.
I was pretty shocked by how expensive the grabs are to go to the beach, which we could have walked had it been a bit more walkable, but we didn't. A grab cost $10 to go 1 mile, and heck, we were paying a third of that to get around town in Kuala Lumpur.
Here in Phuket, we couldn't walk. The roads were not wide enough for us to walk, especially at night. Like we would go down to the beach. I would not want to walk back at night.
No, that's the downside of being in a developing resort town or a new resort town area, is that things are, well, they charge more. It's more tourist pricing for sure.
Yeah. Another downside was the jellyfish larvae.
Oh, gosh.
We were there during the spawn season. I did not know that. There were no signs. No one told us, be careful in the water. And so I got swarmed by them, and half of my body was stung by these tiny little jellyfish, and it created this itchy rash I've still got a week later. It's much better now, but it was brutal. Amelia got a few bites, but nothing like I did.
Yeah, they didn't bother me. I didn't have the reaction you did, but definitely, if you're watching this video and you're thinking about swimming anytime, make sure you check that, because it never even occurred to me. I felt the little stingers, but we got out of the water. I didn't see anything. It was uncomfortable. It wasn't painful. It didn't occur to me that you could have a really bad allergic reaction to that. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, big surprise that my skin reacted to it.
Gosh, I felt so terrible for him.
It was brutal.
It was bad.
Like poison ivy over half my body is what it felt like. So it's not walkable. We talked about this already. There's no sidewalks except in a few areas. Most of the spots don't have sidewalks. The roads are very narrow, barely wide enough for 2 cars. There's nowhere to get out of the way in a lot of spots, so you're just walking right into the traffic. I did not like that. There were some spots that I felt really unsafe walking with the traffic, and since they drive on the left-hand side of the road, like in the UK, it takes a bit of an adjustment. We were kind of used to it after being in KL, where they also drive on the left, but I still catch myself looking the wrong way sometimes.
Yeah, you really got to be careful. Now, I will say I felt that it was walkable in Phuket City. In Phuket town, it was walkable. But yeah, I did not. I saw a couple people walking on these narrow roads, but I don't think it's worth the risk.
No, especially at night. The traffic was brutal.
Yes.
One day we took a grab over to the beach. Like we said, it's a mile. It took us 30 minutes to get over there. It was just bumper to bumper traffic, and not to get to the beach, just the roads to get to the road to go to the beach. The traffic was just terrible. When we drove over to Old Phuket town, it said it should take 30 minutes. It took over an hour to get over there just because the traffic was so bad. There's construction everywhere. So getting around the island is brutal.
I was surprised by the amount of big developments that they have planning, because they aren't doing anything to expand those roads, because honestly, I don't know how they could. I don't know if they would need to just create a pedestrian-only area to manage the traffic, but there's going to be a lot more influx of people, assuming that they build all of these places.
Yeah, right across the street from our Airbnb is a huge condo development going up. They're going up all over. There's cranes all over the place. And there's nowhere to add more roads. They really need a gondola system to go around the island to help alleviate some of that traffic, because I just don't see how they can add a lot more roads given the way everything is built right up to them. So I don't know. The construction is shocking. because it's already overcrowded. And once they add all these new condo buildings in there, I don't know where everybody's going to go.
Yeah,
and
it's
also,
going to be tricky.
The infrastructure is not great. You can't flush the toilet paper. You can't drink the water. There's no really good public transportation other than the tuk-tuks. Those were pretty good.
And they do have a bus system. I think once you get out onto the main roads, it's probably easier, but it's still slow going.
Yeah, the income disparity is kind of in your face too. With the locals, obviously, are living a different lifestyle than the tourists and the foreigners who live there. And it just is what it is. But you're kind of constantly reminded of the two different classes, and it makes you feel a little guilty.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and also, it's the Russian playground. I would not have thought. This isn't necessarily a downside. I guess more of an observation. I was joking around with the Italian guy, and I told him I call it Phuketingrad because there's so many Russians. I mean, even the signs. Some of the signs were in Russian, like these condo buildings. They're in Russian and Thai.
Thai and English.
And English.
I saw a couple of signs in Chinese too. So it was really interesting. I agree. This is it's not a con. It's an interesting observation because we're used to hearing a wider variety of languages than we heard this time in Phuket. And we're really curious. So if any of you are from Russia, please tell us, how did Phuket become so popular? I would love to know. Like, Mexico is really popular for Americans because it's so close. So are there really great flights from Russia to Thailand? I'm guessing there are. I guess I could have looked this up, but I
know
didn't.
because it's a long ways away. I mean, it's not like the U.S. where Mexico is right next door. I mean, Russia's not that close to here, so
I'm very curious.
It is very curious. It's a curiosity.
Yes.
All right. So, what do you guys think about Phuket? Have you been there? Are you planning to go there? Is it still on your list of places to visit or to move to? Just let us know in the comments below. We'd love to know.
Yeah, I guess now that we've listed this and said it all out loud, there was a lot I liked, but it was crowded and I wouldn't go back because I feel like there's a lot of other places we could go to get a more authentic experience. But the beach was phenomenal. I think it's a great place if you want to go for a beach vacation and then you're going to continue touring around this area. But I would not want to live there, JP.
No, me either. Yeah, and if you're going to go, stay as close to the beach as possible to save yourself some money and time getting to the beach.
Yes.
All right, remember to check out the Move Abroad Express e-course that's still on sale, I think, through the end of the year. So you can get it now and lock in your discount, and use it in the future, and also become part of our community. That would be great.
If you're interested in Southeast Asia, then follow along on art adventures by checking out these videos next.
All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Please leave us a like and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you all next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.